Well, welcome everyone. This is David Morgan of themorganreport.com, and today Nick Proughton is with me. He is one of the execs, I'll call him, at LODE Project. And Nick, I just have a bunch of questions, but I'm going to start off with one that I got because I have contributed silver to the project years ago, and this came out very recently. LODE's ongoing business initiatives and technology milestones support the latest estimated value of the LODE project at approximately 200 million USD. As a result, and in accordance with the bonded curve, LODE will mint new LODE tokens. The new LODE tokens price will increase from 6.9 to 9.3 grams of 999 fine silver. This will bring the LODE circulating marketplace supply to 23,647,000 LODE tokens. The ticker price can be viewed, and you give ag.lode.1. So what does that mean, Nick? I know what it means to my bank account or my LODE account. It's going to increase. I'm going to have a smile on my face. But can you go through the mechanics of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things to understand, right? The bonding curve is a pricing mechanism that LODE has developed to internally help the private sale of LODE tokens. There is a max supply of LODE tokens of 77 million, and there will never be any more that is minted than that. That is a total circulating supply that can ever be in existence. So as more and more of that 77 million gets bought up at any given time, we have price tranches that are programmatically planned out that get higher and higher and higher. So the more business we do, the higher that price gets. And that's essentially what's going on here. Now, where's that $200 million number coming from? Did we just presto it out of thin air? No, it's actually backed up by a lot of research and a lot of the opportunity that I'll be speaking about a little bit later today that is justifying this valuation. There was a report. There's a report that's done by ARC Research and ARC Investments. Kathy Woods, very notable analyst in the space here. And just for perspective, many of your community members know we have our proprietary LODE wallet ecosystem, which we have some very big news about that I'll give away a little bit later on. But even doing the simple math of the value of each of these wallets, based on the ARC report and the research that they're seeing across the spectrum, the average valuation of a wallet is around $14,000 per person, right? And so when you do a quick math of the $14,000 to $20,000, I apologize. When you do the quick math, even just on that one statistic alone, it becomes really evident with even just 12,000 downloads, just how powerful and valuable LODE's community is. Which is exciting, right? That's just one statistic that's backing up this valuation. But we've also seen a tremendous increase in the amount of business opportunity and partnerships that are coming down the pipeline for the project. And there's even more than that. This quarter, especially, I'm very proud to announce that we've rebuilt from the ground up our token ecosystem, and all of these factors play in together with the amount of business and new LODE token purchases that are taking place, supporting that $200 million valuation. So it's a very 50,000 view. I am releasing a quarterly review article that's going to put into paper and to the screen at least some documentation for people to read, which hopefully will convey the enthusiasm that I'm trying to hear.
Okay, great. On that document, will that be public domain or will that be in-house for LODE people only?
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of documents coming out. The first of which is an article, a quarterly summary that's going to give everybody the brass tacks of everything that we've done in the last quarter, initiatives that were promised in the last quarter, what they can look forward to this quarter, and not the least of which, and that article will be publicly available on our Medium blog. Now, we're also very proud to announce that we're releasing a 17-page white paper to explain the token ecosystem, and in there actually explains our liquidity strategy. Liquidity is something that we promised in the beginning of Q1, and we said we were going to go onto the Serum DEX and have the Solana blockchain integrated into our system. But what happened was that we realized that in order for LODE to truly be competitive, and in order for LODE to truly establish itself in the broader blockchain market, it actually needed to be compatible with not just two blockchains, but all of them, right? And this is what we've effectively done. The EVM, or the Ethereum virtual machine, which is essentially a fancy way of saying Ethereum forked blockchains, and so and blockchains that were sort of forks of the Ethereum network, has a colloquial term known as EVM. So EVM blockchains make up the majority of the ecosystem, and we can't, unfortunately, just live in a world where we only operate on Solana or we only operate Syscoin, because when it comes time to play with these other systems that are built on other blockchains, that compatibility isn't there. So this new token ecosystem allows us to go across the entire ecosystem of blockchains. And then in addition to that, it allows us to automate and set up trading markets across not just one DEX, but what will eventually become 9 to 16 different DEXs, all simultaneously running from the same order books on the back end. So what does this mean? It means that we get a much broader distribution, that LODE is able to grow its markets organically in a decentralized environment. It means that eventually, when we start getting into the third quarter, we're going to be able to do really exciting stuff, like offer people the ability to add liquidity into the pools, get yield on their gold and silver. Really, really exciting stuff. And for those in your community who are like some in our community saying, well, when Binance, when Coinbase, when Moon, when Lambo, which is totally fine, a fine thing to ask. There, you have to have this understanding that when you come to the table with a project, these exchanges, there are always strings attached, right? The listing fee alone for Coinbase, not including marketing or any kind of initiatives that you want to get to actually get those people on board, the baseline for that is around $1 million, right? But if we come to the table with a market that is built in the decentralized finance space, that is really strong, really stable, and has a very large community backing it, then what happens is that becomes a negotiation and less of us being in an underdog position. So this is part of the reason why building these markets is really important. The other really important thing, as I know, is important to your community as well, is the idea that we don't ever want to be in a position where somebody can turn the tap off on the work LODE is doing, right? I'm sure it's still present and hot in everybody's minds what took place in Canada, a few months ago with Justin Trudeau and the Emergencies Act and the seizing of bank accounts. And if you haven't had the opportunity to look into that, it was a really interesting political history taking place there, where individuals actually had their assets seized by the government and their bank accounts frozen. Pretty scary stuff. DeFi, decentralized finance, offers protection from that environment, right? So that no government could ever come to us and say, turn off the tap. The system works autonomously in a decentralized format. Once you've put it out into the ecosystem, it just runs. There's no off switch to it, and that is a really powerful sentiment, right? It's true, free, honest, and fair. So those are just a couple advantages of having this new token ecosystem. And I know this is a lot for people to digest, but I'm also really excited to announce that as part of this token ecosystem as well, what's going to be coming to light pretty soon here is that we'll be able to catalog our entire inventory of gold and silver with bullion NFTs. So NFTs that are representations of the physical bullion that we have in our vault. So if we have 1,000 Canadian maples or 1,100 ounce bars, those will all individually be represented by unique NFTs, which people can then turn around and use their AGX and AUX to redeem specific bars from our vaults all over the world. So it helps improve our transparency so people can see what we actually have in our vaults, and it improves our redemption process because, again, one of the things that is so important to LODE is this idea that you are the owner of this physical gold and silver when you hold AGX and AUX, not it's not just representing a certain weight denominated gram. You actually have the ability to claim it. So making that process easier and more accessible, and taking advantage of new and exciting technology like NFTs play a really important role in it. So if you can believe it, this entire system that I've described is automated. And as it goes out into the world, it's going to be generating capital for the project and generating fees as a byproduct of this. And as the markets get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to automatically distribute the benefit of that to the LODE token holders. So those micro reward payouts will become more consistent over time. Hopefully we'll be able to shrink that window from 52 days as the project markets get bigger and bigger, and the amount of rewards that you're going to be receiving are going to start growing as well. So I know that was a very big, very long-winded way of answering your question, David. And this is why I mentioned earlier that we have a white paper that's being released, so people can sit with this, drink their coffee or scotch, depending where you are in the world, and take the time to understand what this means. And when you really do get your head around it, you're like, oh my God, this is the future of silver and gold, and this is the future of money. So back over to you, David.
Great. Yeah, well, that was quite a soliloquy. Thank you. So I'm just going to go back to the basics here, what I just read. So we're going from 6.9 to 9.3 grams. That's roughly a 30% increase. Mm-hmm. So me as a LODE token holder, I'm getting like a 30% boost in my net worth of LODE. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, that is the rate which we retail it for. And while we haven't launched the liquidity markets for LODE quite yet, the DEXs aren't trading quite yet. We anticipate that for June now at this point, or end of June at the very latest. But we do have a really strong peer-to-peer channel where people can trade, and we've already done over 1 million tokens exchanging peer-to-peer in hands. Mind you, that's tokens, not the value of the tokens, right? So people are out there selling their LODE tokens and getting substantial benefit from that, right? At least doubling their capital on that. So yeah, a 30% boost feels pretty nice, I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree. So take us into maybe an area I'm not sure we can discuss, but we did the gold DAO through the LODE team. Yeah. And there's always the question that came to me, oh, gold DAO is great, but what about silver? Can we ask that question? Probably should start with what is a DAO, then the gold DAO, and then move into silver, if you don't mind, just because there'll be new viewers there. What's a DAO?
Sure. Okay. So a DAO is an acronym for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Essentially, it is a protocol that has a governance body that is decentralized. Often these systems use tokens to vote on proposals and stuff like that. So the governance of the protocol that is developed is run in a decentralized and largely autonomous fashion. That's where the moniker comes from. And what does that mean in a practical sense, not just in a governance sense, in a management sense? It means that there is a decentralized app that has a series of protocols inside of it that run on autopilot effectively, meaning that you put the wheels in motion and it just does what it's supposed to. A great example of this is what the GSDAO is doing, where it takes in gold from individuals. People stake assets into what is effectively a treasury, and the algorithms take those assets and they go and they generate yield on them. So it's almost like putting it in a bank, but rather than it being a bank that is run by a series of human beings and individuals performing services, those services are all handled by a single, I shouldn't say a single, but a series of algorithms. That's breaking it down to its most core level without throwing a bunch of complicated terminology in there. So hopefully that gets the point across. Now, really, really exciting stuff with the DAO, and many from your community chose to come on in for the initial funding round for the DAO as well. In this report, you guys are going to see some sneak previews of their dashboard that are coming up. And the question on everybody's mind is, when is this thing getting released? When the DAO was first being developed, it was initially a fork. So branch of a pre-existing DAO known as the Olympus DAO. And the Olympus DAO was designed to generate crazy amounts of tokens, and so people were getting huge yields, thousands of percent yields. But what would happen over time is these coins would decrease in value. And in the decentralized finance space, what happened is a bunch of these projects came out and started doing similar concepts, and there were a lot of rug pulls and frustrations and a lot of lost money. And the Gold Standard DAO didn't want to create a product like that, right? They didn't want to put something that that had such a bad stigma into people's mouth. And they also identified a lot of really powerful ways where they could actually improve on what they were doing, and allow the assets in the treasury, the gold, the digital gold, the AUX to start generating more yield, big yield on your gold, which is a really exciting premise. So they said, you know what, we have to not just do things, we have to do things the right way here. And we have to really take the time and the steps to diversify ourselves from other players in the space. And that's what the DAO has done. And that's why we took a little bit more time to get ready to launch this product. But I'm really happy again to say that in the article that will definitely link to this video, you guys will be able to see a screenshot of their new logo, their new dashboard that they have coming down the pipe. And of course, it will link to their website as well. So if you haven't had a chance to see where they're going, you can read their white paper and sort of suck it all up. Back over to you, David.
All right. So I think we've covered everything I want to do. I want to keep this somewhat short, Nick. I know a lot of stuff from our finance meetings that I do with you every Friday, that there's a lot to look forward to. I can't let the cat out of the bag, but you can. Is there anything that you can say or allude to before we close out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've mentioned a lot of it already here. I have mentioned the bullion NFTs, the new token ecosystem. We on a smaller but still really exciting note, we've launched a new Discord channel. So Discord is great because it's a lot like other social channels, except that we can do things like airdrop, giveaways. It makes it much easier to run kind of social engagement programs with our community. So if you're interested in occasionally getting some free stuff or having some good conversations, highly recommend you check out our new Discord channel, which I'll link it for you, of course. On more exciting news, I'm happy to say that we're also beginning to branch out into Latin America. Over the first quarter, we were actually really privileged to go to, not just go to, but be invited by the government of El Salvador to pitch them on collaborating on a stablecoin initiative. And these meetings went really well. And they've allowed us to sort of establish ourselves to begin our operations in Latin America. Now, we are also branching out into Mexico, and we have a lot of really interesting business opportunities there on the table as well. Not quite at the point yet where we can say any names or any contracts have been formally signed, but the amount of interest that we've gotten in our digital silver and digital gold, our AGX and our AUX is monumental. And if these deals do follow through, even one of them could be a proverbial company maker. So we're really excited about the prospects down there, and we really see that in Latin America there is a felt need for what we are doing, perhaps even more so than in the United States and Canada. Now, obviously, we're not going to pull away in any way, shape, or form from our existing community. We're just growing it here, so we're very excited to begin our operations, south the border of the U.S. and see where it leads. There are other developments, but I think I will hold the cat in the bag, so to speak, for just a few more weeks while we tie the knot on some of these things. But we have even more technological developments coming down the pipeline. But I will part with one last exciting piece of news. So I had a bit of a rant earlier about the mobile wallet and the digital wallet. And for people who have used our digital wallet and supported the project so far, I want to say thank you for that. Really pleased to announce that we have a brand new, fully redeveloped from the ground up mobile wallet coming into play here for the end of Q2, beginning of Q3 timeline. Really excited about this. This isn't just a simple slapping a coat of paint on the wallet experience. This is the contracting of a new development team that has built over 200 applications and completely redoing the code so that we're getting rid of any long-standing problematic issues, increasing the speed and efficiencies, and putting to bed a lot of the things that may or may that have been plaguing sort of our existing application. But that is really just the start of it. In addition to all the benefits of just having something that is more consistent, faster, meaner and leaner, so to speak, we have built into the application a DEX so that you, just by holding AGX and AUX and wanting to cash that out for Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDC or anything of that nature, you'll be able to use your crypto to buy all of our assets right from within our app ecosystem and help grow LODE's markets and bring the future of money to its rightful place. So that is a really huge advancement for the project, that decentralized exchange being built right in there, that new trading experience, the ability for you guys to just, take your AGX and AUX and buy LODE with it, or swap your AGX for AUX, or, take your Bitcoin and swap it for whatever asset that we choose to list, really. And this is really where, digital gold and silver start claiming their stake in the DeFi world. So it begins with us, which is really exciting. The new wallet will also have Web3 compatibility. Now, that's a fancy buzzword that you may or may not have heard, but essentially the latest trend in the space is the ability to actually just take your wallet across different platforms, different projects. And rather than having to create whole new accounts and do all of that, you just plug your wallet in, right? It just allows you to directly connect with the application and do what you got to do. And so that means, less circumstances of having to go through KYC. It means not having to manage 8 different wallets across 8 different platforms. It's a really exciting development. And we're happy to say that we're taking the wallet in that direction as well, so that people can, follow along with LODE across the entire finance industry. There are even more features coming down the pipeline. Not the least of which is new card programs, which will be accessible to hopefully our entire market. The card market has been a really interesting journey for that is one of the biggest value props that people are looking to see us fulfill on. We do have one new service provider that's ready to go. We're just in their compliance with the bank. But I do want to express to the community that there's a great amount of work that comes into bringing a card program to life. There is often significant financial costs and often a lot of compliance and a lot of hoops to jump through before we can bring those programs are. So we do see you. It is coming, I promise. We just gotta play the game a little bit and see our compliance across the finish line. But we're getting there, and that's really it, David. So. Thanks again for having me on. And is there any other questions I can answer for you before we wrap?
No, I think we'll wrap it up there. So if you want more information, there'll be show notes. And to get started, just go to ag.lode.one. Just type that in your browser and you will get the landing page and you'll be able to find out a lot. I think the best introduction is a couple of the videos professionally done that talks about Imagine. And of course, this is yours truly talking to the community, but just imagine some honesty in the monetary system again and bringing back real money for real people day to day, one silver AGX or one gold AUX at a time. So I'll leave it there, Nick. I'll let you have the final word if you want to add anything that you forgot to say or want to emphasize.
Yeah, absolutely, David. As David said, head over to ag.lode.one, get an account if you haven't yet. Until April 30th, we are having a promotional opportunity for people to get in at the old price of 6.9 grams. Before that, the price that was before that jump up to the new 9 point, I can't remember off the top of my head, grams.
9.3.
9.3 grams. Thank you, David. The 9.3 grams where it's presently at right now. So if you are interested, if you're curious, I highly recommend not just creating an account, but we have really, really friendly ambassadors that you can speak with in an actual Zoom or Google Hangout meeting, or even pick up the phone and have a call with. And we'll make sure to put that link in the bio as well, because I got to say, there's a lot going on in this project, and I speak really fast, and our ambassadors can really help fill in the blanks there and get you just as excited as we are about the future of LODE. So thank you again, David. It's always a pleasure. Thank you to the Morgan community for all your fantastic support, and strap in, guys. 2022 is going to be pretty amazing.
All right. Well, thank you, Nick. Pleasure's all mine. We will visit again soon.